Welcome to Mr. Creepy Teller. This is our 13th episode of Creep Tales. Tonight's chilling tale is called Do Not Trust Your Reflection. So, grab your headphones, dim the lights, and prepare yourself for a story that will haunt your thoughts. Are you ready to step into the darkness? Let's begin. Ethan had always been fascinated by the Mandela Effect, how groups of people could misremember the same details. It was an amusing quirk of the mind, a puzzle of perception. But when he noticed his own reflection behaving oddly, it became something else entirely. It started subtly. He glanced at himself in the bathroom mirror, and for a fraction of a second, his reflection lagged, like a computer screen buffering. He brushed it off as exhaustion, maybe a trick of the eyes, but the occurrences became more frequent, more pronounced. One evening, he stood in front of his full-length bedroom mirror, adjusting his tie before a night out. He turned to grab his jacket. His reflection didn't move. It stood frozen, watching him. Ethan's blood turned to ice. Then, as if nothing had happened, the reflection caught up, moving in sync again. His heart pounded. Maybe he was imagining things. Maybe. Over the next few days, Ethan became hyper-aware of mirrors. Every reflection, bathroom mirrors, store windows, even puddles, made him uneasy. He started testing them. Quick movements, sudden turns. One night, he decided to record himself. He set up his phone in front of the mirror, hit record, and looked away for a few moments. When he played back the footage, his reflection didn't look away. It stood there, staring at him while he turned his head. The breath in his lungs vanished. His reflection knew, and it was waiting. The paranoia became unbearable. Ethan began covering mirrors, avoiding them altogether. But reflections were everywhere. Glass doors, polished countertops, even the gleam in someone's sunglasses. He couldn't escape them, and he swore he saw something in them. Something more than just his own image. A shadow lurking beneath the surface. Ethan researched obsessively. He found forums discussing the Mandela Effect and stumbled upon a terrifying theory. What if our reflections weren't reflections at all? What if, in some instances, they were something else? Something trapped behind the glass, mimicking us until it didn't have to anymore? One forum warned, do not trust your reflection. If it stops mimicking you, it means it's getting stronger. That night, he avoided mirrors entirely. But as he lay in bed, a sharp tapping sound echoed from his bathroom. Tap, tap, tap. The mirror. He swallowed hard, forcing himself to ignore it. But then came the whisper. Ethan, I know you can hear me. His own voice. He couldn't move. Fear held him in place, his breath coming in short, shallow gasps. Slowly, he turned his head towards the darkened bathroom, his pulse thundering in his ears. He could make out the dim outline of the mirror from his bed. And then, in the darkness, he saw it, his reflection stepping away from the glass. Ethan refused to answer. He pulled the covers over his head, willing the sound to stop. But the whispering continued, low, insistent. And then the worst thing happened. The sound of glass breaking. Hard hammering. He sat up. His bathroom mirror was shattered. But the fragments, each one still held his reflection. And they weren't copying his movements anymore. They were grinning. One by one, the pieces shifted. Hands pushed against the shards, forcing themselves through. Ethan bolted for the door. But the moment his fingers touched the knob, he felt it. Cold, bony fingers wrapping around his wrist. He turned. His reflection had stepped out. It wasn't just one. Every shard of glass, every broken fragment, released another version of him. They stood there, grinning, tilting their heads at odd angles, their eyes dark and bottomless. Ethan stumbled backward, his mind unable to process what was happening. The nearest reflection moved first. It reached out, its fingers elongating unnaturally. Ethan screamed. thrashing as the cold hands grabbed him, pulling him toward the broken mirror. Time to switch places, one of them whispered, Ethan's own voice. He struggled, he fought, but the doppelgangers were stronger. Their fingers pressed against his temples, and suddenly, everything became blurry, disoriented, like a dream slipping through his mind. Memories distorted. His mother's face. Wasn't her hair brown? No, blonde. No, wait. His childhood house. Wasn't the door red? No, blue. Wasn't it? He felt himself slipping away, as if he were being erased, rewritten, and then darkness. The next morning, Ethan woke up feeling refreshed. He looked in the mirror, adjusted his tie, and smirked. No hesitation, no delay. He was perfect now. The old Ethan was gone, and no one would ever know. Across the room, in the small, jagged remnants of a shattered mirror shard, a pair of terrified eyes stared out, unable to move, trapped inside the glass. Ethan's real self, forever imprisoned, watching as the imposter took his place in the real world. If you enjoy listening to episodes like this, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you spine-chilling stories like these. Stay tuned, because even darker tales are just around the corner.